All right, so I just wanted to give my perspective and my take on the restaurant food chain Frisch's closing. What a lot of their locations closing. From what I understand, it was locally owned. Then those people actually sold it to some big corporate group, and that corporate group, just pretty much ruined it, which is what happens a lot of times. But so I just kind of wanted to go over that and just give my perspective and just kind of go through the whole saga that's been going on for a few days here or a few weeks.
Restaurant chain is in the middle of another major downsizing for the second time since April.
The company blames unforeseen circumstances and a variety of other factors. In fact, some say these problems.
Unforeseen circumstances. You would think they would, I wonder what those unforeseen circumstances were. Were they really unforeseen, or were they just things that were done out of basically negligence or just incompetence?
Variety of other factors. In fact, some say these problems were predictable. Bringing in Dan Monk from the WCPO.
Well, I said the problems were predictable. So
they're downsizing for the second time since April.
The company blames unforeseen circumstances and a variety of other factors. In fact, some say these problems were predictable. Bringing in Dan Monk from the WCPO 9i team here now to explain how a 2015 decision to sell off assets ultimately led directly to the eviction filings. Dan?
Yeah, well, when Frisch's was acquired in 2015 by an Atlanta-based company, they followed that transaction just a few months later with a sale leaseback transaction. And that allowed it to reclaim about 25% of its $175 million purchase price. It also made Frisch's a long-term tenant, not an owner, at 74 of its locations. So the owner is a Florida company. It's the one now. So the owner is a Florida at 74. Frisch's a long-term tenant, not an owner.
It like it was
at 70.
Quick,
it also,
like a short-sighted, quick, windfall, but long-term it was a bad move.
So made dollar purchase price. It also made Frisch's a long-term tenant, not an owner, at 74 of its locations.
That's why it's good to own.
Frisch's a long-term tenant, not an owner, at 74 of its locations. So the owner is a Florida company. It's the one now trying to evict Frisch's from those 12 locations, citing past due rent totaling $4.6 million. Now, I spoke to 3 experts today who said that deal is making it tougher for Frisch's to navigate changes in the restaurant industry.
Well,
these are not short-term deals. I believe the Frisch's arrangement was for 20 years. So you are locking yourself in to 20 years of escalating rent payments. That's a lot of time for a business.
Whoever put this deal together had very little foresight.
To potentially go off the rails.
Now, I will say this real quick. I bet this person the people or the person that are responsible will not take responsibility.
Yes.
And if they do, typically it's a fake responsibility. And and you'll see later on, they'll cut other people's pay, but they'll still keep those bonuses.
That's Carl Gerdemuller with the University of.
Sorry about that. Let me go ahead and
deal.
Restaurant industry.
These are not short-term deals. I believe the Frisch's arrangement was for 20 years. So you are locking yourself in to 20 years of escalating rent payments. That's a lot of time for a business to potentially go off the rails.
That's Carl Gerdemuller with the University of Cincinnati's Real Estate Center.
That's a lot of time for a business to potentially go off the rails. See, people like this, like people listen to celebrities, but people like this, like white people, black people, whatever, the black people that are like this guy, the black people that actually are in real estate, not like the when you talk about the celebrity real estate people, I guess you just never know. I mean, because in some cases, just because a person is in a position don't really mean that they know. But that's why it's just good to get a lot of different perspectives and people that are actually doing it and have references.
20 years. So you are locking.
Like I said, I don't have all the answers, and there's a lot more I don't know than what I do know. So just trying to improve and make sure I'm thinking and problem solving.
The restaurant industry.
These are not short-term deals. I believe the Frisch's arrangement was for 20 years. So you are locking yourself in to 20 years of escalating rent payments. That's a lot of time for a business to potentially go off the rails.
That's Carl Gerdemuller with the University of Cincinnati's Real Estate Center. He's a former Macy's executive.
Another thing, he mentioned increasing rents. And that's the thing too, like when you own a house, you have increasing sales taxes. Well, I'm sorry, property taxes. And you have increasing, in some cases, insurance. The homeowner's insurance. So that's a factor in, that a lot of people aren't really told and don't really consider, is that price isn't probably going to be the same price for 30 years of that house, the mortgage payment.
The rails.
That's Carl Gerdemuller with the University of Cincinnati's Real Estate Center. He's a former Macy's executive who told me these deals are particularly risky for the.
Well, see, he's a Macy's, former Macy's executive, and Macy's did a lot of bad things. Like, they kind of blew it too.
Deals are particularly risky for the volatile restaurant industry. I reached out to Frisch's owner, whose managing director told me today that these evictions certainly don't represent the totality of the company.
All right. So, Dan, speaking of those.
Now, pay attention to that. He said it don't, it don't represent the totality, but its locations closing left and right.
The totality of the company.
All right.
Now, who do you
That
say?
these evictions certainly volatile restaurant industry. I reached out to Frisch's owner, whose managing director told me today.
Give me 1 second. So, who is the owner of Frisch's? I'm looking on Wikipedia right now. It said the seller of Frisch's restaurant. I'm gonna share this. Atlanta-based private equity fund. Yeah, so these people, they don't have any kind of roots here. They don't have any, affinity towards Frisch's or the people that have been going there for years. Black, white, whatever. Looks like Craig Meyer. Oh no, hold on. Sale ended the family operation. The ownership of the Frisch's restaurant chain. Craig Meyer, CEO, and his sister Karen Meyer, vice president of marketing, grandchildren. Okay. He said, however, both remain active as franchisees, operating individual Frisch's Big Boys. But it says in 2019, Craig Meyer closed his franchise Frisch's restaurant in Mount Airy neighborhood of Cincinnati. And it says, on September 4th, 2015, Frisch's Restaurant Inc. ceased to be a listed, publicly traded company. Aziz Hashim, CEO of NRD Partners, assumed Craig Meyer's position as Frisch's president in April 2016. and Jason Vaughn was hired as the CEO. So I wonder why dude stepped down. But let me get back to the story here.
That these evictions certainly don't represent the totality of the company.
All right. So, Dan, speaking of those evictions, what will happen to all those empty Frisch's locations?
One thing that was good about Frisch's was
this
its
was 2
choice
weeks
in
ago.
real estate. They were very good at finding real estate. And I talked to a retail broker today who told me a lot of interest in these properties from not only restaurants, but convenience stores, gas stations, and car washes.
And quickly, this doesn't mean the end of Frisch's, does it?
No, they still have dozens of restaurants open, and it will make it harder for them to compete in the future. But long term, they think they're going to make it a go of it.
All right.
But we'll see about
Today's
that.
Wix full.
Now this one is from 4 days ago.
A Cincinnati staple is facing some big financial challenges.
Yeah, court filings show that Frisch's owes millions in rent, and now multiple locations are closing down. And tonight, WLWT News 5's Daisy Kershaw spoke with heartbroken customers who say they don't want to see it go. She is live right now from Norwood with their reaction tonight. Hi, Daisy.
Hi there, Mike. Yeah, back in April, it was announced that multiple Frisch's locations, including this one here in Norwood, were shutting down. And, this has come as a big shock to many. According to court documents, Frisch's owes its landlord $4.5 million. A line of cars stretches around the side of this Frisch's on Bridgetown Road in Cheviot.
Hi, yes, can I get the super big boy combo?
It's a frequent stop of many here tonight.
They have our drink order when we come. It's, because we've been coming here for so long.
This is one we used to come to when, the kids were little and so long ago. So, yeah.
Is there a lot of nostalgia tied to this?
Oh, you kidding me? Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, there really is.
How long have you been coming here?
Since high school.
Mm-hmm.
Our high school days.
Yeah.
50 years. At least.
Like an order of Frisch's tartar sauce and fries with a hot fudge brownie for dessert. Tonight is bittersweet. Many are here to say goodbye.
It's sad. It really is sad that we're losing them. But we're here to get our last meal, our last supper.
News of Frisch's restaurants across greater Cincinnati closing, hitting close to home.
This is our favorite. We love the staff here. They've been here for years, and we're going to miss them. This just isn't fair.
Diane Palmisano's father served in the Ohio Army Reserve during World War II. As a little girl, her dad would bring Frisch's home after training.
My go-to sandwich was a Buddy Boy. It's a great memory. In fact, now that I'm saying it, I'm going to start crying.
She's sad to see it close, but knows she has those special memories.
I had.
What's crazy too, because it's like this that location is like super busy, and they still
come and get at least one more Buddy Boy. When I went to the drive-thru, they said I had the last Buddy Boy. Thanks, Dad.
Now, back in October, the restaurant chain filed a request that the plaintiff NNN REIT LP allow for an extension on the eviction notice. We reached out to both parties late tonight and are waiting for a response. Live in Norwood, Daisy Kershaw, WLWT News 5.
So that was that. So then there's more to where these people are some of the employees have been lied to, but I'll go with this one real quick. This is short.
And you immediately think of their mascot, that double-decker sandwich, tartar sauce, and pumpkin pie. Local food historian Dan Wellert says the
pumpkin pie.
Food historian Dan Wellert says the closures are a blow to Cincinnatians because it's so familiar.
We do have our Cincinnati chili parlors, which have the same sort of, resonance with people. Just a fun, comforting place to meet for dinner. Could someone come in and do the same thing? It's kind of doubtful.
He says the iconic Big Boy with tartar sauce matched the city's taste buds.
So that led to the creation of their fish.
That Big Boy is good.
Sandwich. So Cincinnati is a very Catholic city. And so on Fridays, Catholics had to go meatless or eat fish.
The burger's original recipe had a Thousand Island dressing, but the tartar sauce stuck. And it could continue to bring in money.
That's a product that might last even if
That's what I was thinking too. So they do have their own tartar sauces they sell in the stores, and I'm thinking like they got this other revenue stream, and they still like what's really going on? Is this some kind of money laundering? Somebody messed up the bag? Like what's really happening?
Might last even if the restaurant doesn't, because people that's the taste of Big Boy, the tartar sauce.
The restaurant has unique features that make it stand out, and the CEO of the Hamilton Chamber of Commerce believes it could be revamped and brought back.
Anytime that a long-term brand like that has emotional ties, I think it's tough for people to deal with. And actually, sometimes I think that's tougher than the economic impact.
You can always find our stories here on YouTube, but
But that is, that's another point. The economic impact. So many people losing their job.
More Frisch's restaurants across the tri-state tonight, and the closing of more Frisch's restaurants across the tri-state.
Restaurant employees say they've been ordered to sign documents or lose their jobs.
Let's bring in WCPO 9 News anchor Brett Bugansky. He actually spoke with employees and shared their concerns with an attorney.
Kept telling us we were going to stay open. There was a continuance, which we found.
That's why I remember this one lady I used to work with. Later on, she became an entrepreneur, and she does soap and she does like private label stuff. And she was telling me like that was the best decision she ever made. It's being an entrepreneur. It's tough. It's not for everybody, but people like Bob Proctor, they speak of having multiple streams of income. When you look at a lot of these people, a lot of the rich athletes and other people, entertainers, even like people in business, they kind of have like the diversified portfolio. It's not just in one place. Got to be able to do a lot of different things, or have ways you can make money while you're sleeping in. You actually producing something.
Found out later was kept telling us we were going to stay open. There was a continuance.
And another thing, like these companies don't really care about people for the most part. They'll tell you whatever to get you on, to fill a body, to get some sales, and to hit their numbers.
Kept telling us we were going to stay open. There was a continuance, which we found out later was a lie.
Haley Johnson said she felt blindsided Sunday when she walked into work at Frisch's Big Boy in Middletown.
And then the day of us closing is the day we found out we was closing.
What was it like?
That's crazy. That is messed up. Then they said employees, you asked to transfer or resign because they don't want to pay no unemployment, I guess.
Is the day we found out we was closing.
What was it like inside?
It was really sad. We had regulars come in. There was a lot of tears shed. It was horrible.
Well, I was yelling out the window at the speaker, and nobody was saying anything.
Some customers also felt blindsided, finding out Frisch's was closed.
Well, we get the rude awakening that everybody else has that's been driving up, that it's shut down, no notice.
Speaking of notice, Haley Johnson said she got this piece of paper on her last day asking if she'd like to transfer to another Frisch's location. It gives them the option of two preferred locations. The third option is resigning. Now, Haley told me she didn't sign this piece of paper, and on Tuesday, she found out she got fired for not filling it out.
Is there any recourse that they may have?
Most likely not. Matt Miller-Novak specializes in employment law in Cincinnati.
Somebody refuses to sign that. What is that going to mean?
This is in employment law in Cincinnati. Most likely not.
See, I don't like to hear that from somebody that would be my lawyer. Talk about most likely not. They can't win a case.
Fired for not filling it out.
Is there any recourse that they may have?
Most likely not. Matt Miller-Novak specializes in employment law in Cincinnati.
Somebody refuses to sign that. What is that going to mean if somebody's trying to collect unemployment?
If you are terminated for cause, you also don't get unemployment. So part of what concerns me here is that if you don't sign this as a Frisch's employee and they terminate you, that it would be considered a termination for cause.
In other words, you would not be eligible for unemployment. We reached out to Frisch's for comment, but we didn't hear back.
And they basically told us there was nothing to worry about. We wasn't going to be the ones that was closing. Obviously, we wasn't one that was closing.
Do you almost feel like they lied to you?
Yes.
She looked a lot better with makeup on.
I was closing.
Do you almost feel like they lied to you?
Yes. It was more than lied. They had us believing we were really going to be okay and have a job.
Now she will try to find another.
That's messed up. She said believing. Kind of like the politicians.
More than lied. They had us believing we were really going to be okay and have a job.
Now she will try to find another job, providing for her 2 small children.
Said we got Thanksgiving and Christmas.
That's messed up.
So I don't know how I'm going to provide for them when it's just me and them.
In Middletown.
No, she said it's just me and them. So that's why it's important that you're going to have kids. You got to make it work. It can be a struggle as a single mom, single parent. Better with two parents. Single parent is pretty much just like embracing the struggle. You'd be way better off with 2 parents in the home. Just got to get better at communicating and learning how to get along. But yeah, this Frisch's thing, like it's been like a pretty big story. See, it's a couple of news programs with news channels from different stations talking about it. And again, just like in my personal experience, a lot of these people that are in these places are in positions they're not necessarily, I mean, anything can happen as far as unforeseen things. But you heard some of the people actually talk about this was kind of, you can kind of see something like this happening. Somebody who really has some kind of foresight or some kind of business acumen. So it's just one of those situations. Hopefully Frisch can bounce back, and, but to me, whoever running the ship over there gotta go. Well, I mean, I don't say gotta go, but because like I said, they still getting their bonuses. These people can mess. They can mess up a lot because they still gonna get theirs at the end of the day. So it's best to not necessarily put your faith in other people.
Down prep again.
Make sure you're doing what you have to do to put yourself in the best situation. And just try to do it with integrity and win-win situations and with people that actually want to help and are willing to help and don't mind seeing you win. And because you got a lot of people out here that really don't like to see other people win. But, in the case of this Frisch's, I just, one of the big things I got is just that so many different people from different backgrounds enjoy Frisch's, and they had, good memories there, and they enjoyed the food. So it's just one of those things that's just like the people that made it. Somebody else coming in really can't. Maybe they can do it better, or maybe they can improve it. But a lot of times you can see they just won't be able to improve it or be able to duplicate it because they don't have the soul or the roots and things of that nature. They don't care as much. They don't have the ownership. They don't have the pride in it.